Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
Laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
This is a hardcore grind interview with the fabulous and very creative Pat George Walker, author, recording artist. Like, listen, you have done a lot. I got questions. I got some questions for you. How are you?
I am well, and yes, I have done some things. That some of it we can discuss, and others, Jesus don't tell it. I ain't telling it either.
I say, well, we're going to have to talk about this. We're going to have to talk about this. But I always like to...
I'm so happy. I'm happy that you invited me here. I am so beyond pleased. I know it took a little effort because life was life and whatnot, but I am so happy to be here.
Oh, we're so happy to have you. Happy to have you. I'm glad you were able to share your time, your space, and your energy with me. Now, I always like to go. Okay. I always like to go with a go moment. But see, you done had so many go moments. I got to ask my first question. So you've been a recording artist. You were signed to Columbia, Epic, and Def Jam.
No. I worked promotion and marketing for Columbia and Epic and Def Jam. I sang years ago with a group called Arlene Smith and the Chantels. And another
really?
And I also, recorded Cheryl Pepsi Riley when she was 16. I had a recording studio in Brooklyn. Girls, I'd have done some things.
Okay, so what was that like, Bobby? What was that like for you? Because marketing in the music industry is kind of hard if they're not marketable.
Well, I tell you what. Now, this may seem strange, but it's the truth. My goal in promotion and marketing within the music industry was to meet the same guy who marketed and promoted Tiny Tim. You know, that little white guy with the stringy hair and the ukulele, tiptoe, and got him. I wanted to sit at his feet and find out how in the world would you do that? But I had some wonderful people that I worked with, like the late Mike Bernardo, Russell Simmons, Eddie Pugh, Ruben Rodriguez. Oh my goodness, everybody, so many people I worked with. Sandra DaCosta, you name it. It was very, very interesting. It was challenging at times, because like I used to tell the people that would come in, when you come, bring your own jar of Vaseline because we ain't giving you none.
Woo!
And, we ain't giving you not a slather. And, just bring that. We ain't giving you no dinner. We ain't giving you a kiss. Just know that before you enter the door. I'm hardcore, too. I'm at that age now. I just tell the truth. I don't care.
No, that's right. She said, listen, if you ain't got it, you won't get it today, boo.
Hey, and then I did management for a while. As a matter of fact, I used to manage Jay Dibbs and J. Dibs had given me a CD. Was it a CD? It might have been a cassette. I don't remember, girl. I don't know. And it had a song on it called "I'm in Love." And at the time, I once had a intern by the name of Brian Jackson who went on to become A&R at Mercury Records.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's why you got to be nice to people. You have to be nice to people. I didn't treat him any different than I treated anybody else because he was an intern. Well, fast forward, I give him the cassette tape or the CD, I forget which one it was. I said, look, I got this song, this track. I think it is hot. A week later, we had a deal for Joe's first hit. Yep. And then, of course, I went on to manage Culture Don, and Brown Man and Brian Allen, and these are mostly producers as well as songwriters. And we were getting ready to put out this album with Culture Don and the Fugees and on Rough House Records. And Columbia decided that, no, you know what, I don't think we're going to put those out right now because we got this girl group that we kind of pushing. And guess who the girl group was? Destiny's Child, honey.
Oh,
Destiny's
child.
I tell people all the time, Beyonce owes me. She owes me. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and I got to meet some fabulous artists, and quiet as it's kept. And I tell people all the time, Flavor Flav was my baby.
Everybody says he's like really sweet.
He is. Every time he would come to my office, I couldn't wait for him to come in and close the door. You know why? He wore some of the most amazing cologne. I mean, that dude. I didn't more care about no clock around his neck, none of that. I didn't care. I mean, and his conversation was always respectful. Always respectful. And Allison Williams was another one. I love Allison to this day. Class, you talking about class. That is one classy lady.
I love it. Now, I love being able to talk to people that have been in the music industry for a long time because really African Americans have built that industry. Whether they were seen or not seen, but with their voices. I had the privilege.
Put them on an album cover.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I had the privilege of interviewing Preston Glass. It was just awesome. So I love when you guys tell these stories because it's like, what?
Well, you know what? If you go on a Tribe Called Success Literary Cafe, you will see some pictures of me with LL Cool J all hugged up on me. Search from Third Base, they were all hugged up on me, because back in the day, girl, now listen, okay?
You better tell them about it, Miss Pat. Tell them, let them know. Be like, don't let the book spoil you.
Listen, okay? And then you'll see like some gold and platinum records with the artists that I work with, like Regina Bell and Michael Bolton and Public Enemy, and who else? Them children. Oh, New Kids on the Block. A whole bunch of people. Circus.
I love it. Now, what was that moment in your career when you decided to change step? So a goal moment is when thought and execution come together. A lot of times we are thinking about doing something and we never really do it. But we're really mindful about how other people step their life up and move forward and do their visions and, speak into their lives. But when it comes to ourselves, we tend to deal in lack a little bit. So what was that moment like for you when you decided to leave the music industry?
They kicked me out. I told you they wanted Beyonce. I'm just kidding. No, actually, I was kind of depressed because at that moment in time, what else? That's what I knew. But funny thing, see, God is amazing. I had been writing these little short stories about this crazy church lady for years,
Mm-hmm.
Sister Betty. And I was also doing monologues because I love to perform, you know, things of that nature. And I was doing monologues at, you know, different churches. Plus, I was a PK kid. Both my parents, you know, my father was Baptist, my mother was Pentecostal, so I had to do comedy.
Yes.
Same thing, you know. Anyway, so I was very depressed, and my friend LaJoyce Berkshire, who at the time was a publicist at Arista, she had written Soul Food, the novel. So LaJoyce got all up in my case about, you know, why are you, you know, moping around and what I want a little dumb story. Well, she didn't call it dumb, the little funny stories that you write. I said, who in the world cares about some little church lady that got a telephone call from Jesus? But I said, okay, why not? I didn't know that you don't put out little 22-page short stories with a staple in the middle and call it a book. I thought it was like, you know, when you have an album, you take a single from the album before you put the album out, you know, and you promote the album and do a little taste, you know, give them a little tease out there. So I took my little first Sister Betty book called Sister Betty, God's Calling You. And it was about this little old crazy church lady watching her soap operas and whatnot, and Jesus called her on the phone to say he was coming by. The girlfriend got so full of herself, she hung up before she found out what time he was coming. So throw into the mix this other character, Joe Bill, who got hit by a car trying to get away from Sister Betty while she was handing out checks. And he ended up in heaven on a technicality. But he can't get his wings until he turns her around. So it's all about the interaction, you know, of how we say that we love the Lord and we're going to represent the Lord and whatnot, but we can be so mean and nasty to one another. And we think we all of that and whatnot. So I'm not going to give the whole thing away, but I, you know, put it in my little book and whatnot, my little 22-page book with the staple in the middle, and then I promoted it online. And I did something called Chronicles of Humor 1-on-1. So every week was like a soap opera. You know, every week she was getting into something. Oh, and the name of the church was Ain't Nobody Right But Us, All Others Going to Hell. And it was pastored by the Reverend Not Enough Money, and the bishop was never called. It was satire.
Yes.
You know? So I had characters like Mother Pray On, and Deacon Laid Hands, and Brother Tis My Thing was the choir director. I mean, they was a hot mess. And my tagline was, don't let worry kill you off, let the church help. So every week they would get into some kind of mess or whatever. And it just went wild. I mean, it went crazy. And because I was also out on the circuit, you know, doing my Sister Betty one-woman show and whatnot, it caused a lot of eyes to come towards it. And next thing I know, it was being put in bookstores. Now, this book did not have a spine. I didn't mention it was just 22 pages, but with a staple in the middle, right? What? I'm talking Barnes and Noble. All these bookstores. They had it for a special order. You had to go in or call in, you know, and ask for it. It was so popular, I could not keep up with the demand. So my entertainment attorney decided he would invest in me, and he had the books had a better printed better, I should say, better cover, you know, all of that. And long story short, I didn't know until after I was signed with Kensington Daphina that had never been done before. So Publishers Weekly credited me with creating a new genre of fiction, gospel comedy. And then Kensington Daphina bought up all my stories and reissued the book as a collection, and the title was Sister Betty, God's Calling You Again. And that launched it.
Go, girl. I know that's right. I love it. Now.
And I was so ignorant. But let me tell you something. When I tell you I was ignorant, I didn't know nothing about no publishing business. Girl, listen. You're talking about, that's why you can't tell me that it wasn't all Jesus.
All right.
I didn't know nothing.
You're right. You're right. Listen, when you are walking in your truth and you are walking in your purpose and he starts moving, it's like a beat. Everything falls on beat. And you don't know how anything is happening. You're just there when it happens.
Not at all. Because I was really upset a little bit, Lord, why you take me out of the music industry? These people like me over here. They know me, and I'm kind of famous over here. I don't, wrote articles for PM Magazine and did videos. Why you take me out of this? Girl, listen. He threw me right into the publishing business. He took everything that I had in the music industry away, that I have no choice. But I had always loved to write. And the funny thing about it was my third grade teacher told me after, Sister Betty hit and whatnot, she said, I always knew you was going to be a writer because you were the biggest liar I had in the third grade. That's exactly what she said. She said, you used to walk around telling me all these ridiculous stories and whatnot. I said, well, Miss Madison, hey, I guess it was always there.
I love it. Now, you've been a 3-time AALAS winner, American Gospel Award winner, National and Essence Bestselling author, creator. Listen, multiple awards for Sister Betty. Describe your pen style, if you could, in 5 words.
I don't have one. 4 or 5 words. I dream a lot. Most of my stories come to me in dreams. And then I'm an observer. Like I said, I'm a PK kid. And it's always bothered me that I could go to church and hear a great sermon, and then by the time I get to the door, somebody said something stupid. It made me have to repent. But instead of telling people off, I would just put the stories, in satire form, comedy. And sometimes I went a little too far because I had people tell me, okay, I know exactly who you're talking about. People from my church and whatnot, they said, okay, now we know. So I just, change the name to protect the guilty.
Y'all, she telling your business. I'm telling you, Sister Sarah, that's your business she was telling. I know you got some calls. How many times did your mama and your dad call you talking about some page 85 sound real familiar, baby?
You know what? Actually, my parents passed away before I wrote my first book. My dad, in addition to being a preacher, he was a songwriter as well. And my mother knew Jesus personally because my mom was so saved, sanctified, and Holy Ghost filled that if I didn't want Jesus to know something, I made sure she didn't know first. That's how scared that woman had me.
Child, talk about it.
I thought she told Jesus what to do. Because as soon as she would say, I'm going to pray on it, I said, oh, Lord Jesus. Oh, Lord. Jesus is going to do exactly what she said.
I love it. Now listen, because you think them praying mamas and grandmamas, they kept you on your toes because it was like, listen, she going to find out what I done did. Whatever I want to do about to be canceled. It's about to rain outside. I ain't even going to be able to go.
She going to tell Jesus how she wanted to go down, and he is not going to argue with her. I mean, she had me all discombobulated, okay? My father was a little bit looser, But my mama, and she threatened to cancel my birth certificate on a whim.
Wait a minute, that's the thing about mamas. Listen, we say some outrageous stuff, and we will have you believe in it. They'd be like, you can really do that? Yes, I can.
When I tell you that my mama, I believe that my mama told Jesus what to do, and he wouldn't argue with her. I actually did not want that woman to know nothing bad that I did, because I knew that, she was going to tell as if Jesus didn't know first. But, that's how messed up she had me.
Listen, but now if you could change anything about the literary industry, what would it be and why?
I'll be perfectly honest with you. If I could change anything about the literary industry, it would be, let's get rid of the jealousy. Back in it was in the 1970s, I had taken two of my daughters to see the play The Wiz, and at that particular performance, Stephanie Mills did not perform, Didi Bridgewater did, but sitting in front of me was this tall woman with this turban wrapped around her head. She was just so magnificent and so elegant, and it was Dr. Maya Angelou. And she turned around and smiled at my daughters. And that's all it took. And it was intermission, and we struck up a conversation. And the one thing she told me when I told her that I wanted to be, writer, was to be honest. Mm-hmm. It took me a while to understand what she meant, but in that honesty was a lot. Don't be jealous. Write what you know. Don't worry about what the flow is. Write what you know, because the readers are going to know if you're not being honest with them. So I've always tried to appeal to, and when I see the backbiting, not everybody, but when I see the backbiting that's going on, and especially when you go to review a book, you can tell. You can tell when that what is being written is not about the book, but about the person or the author, from another author. And I've been here long enough to know a whole bunch of people. I would change that, because if we come together, we have plenty of stories to tell. I don't need to copy off your story. You don't need to copy off of mine. If one thing I will say about the tribe that I belong to, A Tribe Called Success, Melena Kai's Tribe Called Success. I've been with her, oh my goodness, I forget how many years now. We don't have that. We do not have that. And she is a taskmaster. If you can't bring that excellence to the group, you got to go. And by bringing excellence, I mean we don't have that infighting. If somebody needs something, we don't even care if you need your rent paid. We will come together and pay your rent. If you need a book push, we will come together, get a beta reader, whatever. It's a one-stop. And I think that needs to be something that's that's done throughout the industry. So I would change that mindset that the authors had. I would also change the mindset that the publishers have.
Talk about it.
Okay. What's a nice way to put it? Damn, I can't think of no nice way.
Honey,
they need to do better. I'm
about to say, be honest.
I'm gonna be honest. They need to do better. Not all of them. Not all. I've had some fabulous editors like Selena James and Karen Ravenel. Fabulous. Even Melena Kai, who now is also my agent as well. Fabulous. People who don't mind telling you the necessary truth. You know what I'm saying? And we don't always get the necessary truth.
Well, I always... Go ahead.
I'm just saying that what's necessary for me may not be necessary for you, but an editor should know. And the author should be able to accept it. Because you have that relationship. And if you succeed as an author, she succeeds or he succeeds as an editor. And the publisher succeeds.
And this is the thing.
Need to keep that
Absolutely, because your editor, that's your right hand. Their job is to get blood from a turnip. Their job is to take your book from good to great. from okay to amazing. That is their job. And you have to be trusting in their skill and their knowledge to make your book and turn it around the way it needs to be done. So you are absolutely right.
I liken it to your baby. You have your baby, and you think that your baby is just gorgeous. But that little dwarf that you present to somebody else, they may not think that it's gorgeous. So you need somebody to tell you, look, you might want to put some lotion on that little ashy baby. You might want to put a little cap over its face until it gets better. I mean, point out the good, the bad, and the ugly. But you, as the person who created it, you may not see all that. 9 times out of 10, we don't. Because we think we the bomb diggity.
Mm-hmm.
And we be having all kinds of, misspelled words and grammatical errors and you can tell. And people need to understand that you have to pay for what you get. You have to pay for it. A lot of times authors don't want to pay. And then it's reflected in their work. And see, readers are funny. When they put out their little money and whatnot, well, not little money, because now it's big money. When they put out their money, they don't want to see all that. And then what are the chances of them, going back and buying the next book? Nil to none.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
And then you have to know your audience. Just because, like J.D. Mason. I love J.D. Mason. J.D. wrote a book called, it's about these dragon people and whatnot, SB or something like that. Girl, I stayed up all night reading that book. But I can't write it. I wouldn't even try to. I know my lane. So we need to know our lane. And in knowing your lane, that's when you're being honest. Nalena Kai, I wouldn't dare touch any of her writing and compare it to mine. No way in the world. Joy Campbell, not going to do it. Shakir Rashad, who has a new book out now called Never Wrath. Man, let me tell you, girl, listen. Ain't no way in the world I would try to emulate what he does. You can't do it. Stay in your lane and be happy for those who succeed.
Because I think what people don't understand is, one, and I want to go back to what you said, it's not necessarily people are copying your writing. I think that depending on how you were raised and what era.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
A lot of our experiences were the same. We experienced life, but we're not the only one that experienced that moment. But when it comes down to writing, each author has a signature. They have a signature in their pen that cannot be replaced. How they say, often duplicated. They have that signature.
And you can tell if you didn't see the name on the book as soon as you open it up, like Bernice. Why can't I think of Bernice's name? Sugar. They wrote Sugar. No. Yeah. I would not need to see her name on the book to know that that's her writing.
Yeah. That's right. And they say often duplicated, never imitate, or often imitated, never duplicated.
Often imitated, but never duplicated.
Yeah, right. Often imitated, never duplicated. So your writing, your work is your work, because they're never going to be able to write in the way that you do, because that is your signature. Can't nobody copy that. And your readers know that, and they appreciate that.
But let me tell you something else about our readers. They can be kind of fickle sometimes, too. I love them. But, honey, if you write a series like I did, and you decide you want to do something else, they the first one to tell you, well, yeah, this ain't no Sister Betty book. Well, I didn't write it as a Sister Betty book. Or when you're going to write another Sister Betty book, they will come all up in your grill and tell you what they need you to do. And you, 9 times out of 10, you say, okay, well, I guess I'll put this next bestseller back on the back burner and pull out a Sister Betty book.
But readers like that, but a good reader, them ultimate readers, it's kind of like the movie Misery. You remember the movie Misery?
Yes, girl, when she tied them boys on the boyfriend's knees and went to work.
Readers, they will get attached to their character. And if you kill their character off, if the characters start dating Tommy instead of Fred like they wanted, like it was, listen, they will remember. If you don't read your first part 1 before you write part 2, if you write part 2 and you listen, that's not possible because in part 1, this is what happened. So you put this in part 2, that's not even going to work. That's not even going to work. They will run down your book for you. That's that ultimate reader.
And sometimes they could be real petty too. Cause I had one reader, I wanted to get mad at her, but I understood her. She gave me 1 star because my book wasn't an ebook yet. Like I had something to do with that.
It was a personal message. It was. Listen, I'd always tell authors, I was like, listen. They'd be like, and I got my review. Girl, don't be mad about those reviews because that is a personal board. That's a personal board for them to contact you and tell you how they feel. So if you put them in your feelings, your job. So that 1 star you got mad is really 4 stars. It was really 4 stars because I did my job. You and your feelings, I did my job.
Put on there, why isn't this book an ebook? Love the book. Okay, love the story. But she gave it 1 star. That was the only time that ever happened. And the funny thing about it, I got all those 5 stars, but the one I remembered was that 1 star.
That's right. And it wasn't that it was the 1 star. It was the why. It was the 1 star.
Yeah,
it was like,
do they not know? I just write the words and what. I don't even format the book. The publisher does all that. I have nothing to say about when it comes out. None of that. But she was in her feelings for sure.
And I think a lot of times that happens because readers don't understand the writing process and they don't understand the business part of books. So, and I used to be one of those readers. I'm book bougie. I used to not say that, but I am. I'm very book bougie. But before I was able to experience authors and experience their process, I used to think, okay, why I got to wait a whole year to get part 2 to this book? And then you put out a short. Why do I have to read this other book before you give me what I want? Like, we just think books supposed to be like after book after book after book and give it to me now. I don't want to have to wait 8-9 months for this book. I want to know what's going on with these people. We get attached.
The reader adopts these people as their family, as their friend, as someone that they know personally, and that's a good thing, but it can have, other ramifications too. Like when somebody gives you a 1 star because that book didn't come out in ebook yet. Well, they're, a hardcover, a soft cover, mass market, ebook. You don't come out with a hardcover and then the ebook.
But it's that they don't understand the process. Yes. They don't understand the process. They don't understand how publishers work. They just think you're supposed to be. That's all you're supposed to do. I always tell readers I can count on one hand how often authors go out during writer season. One hand, because they don't go outside. They don't leave their home. And you have some that are hybrids, where they are self-published, but then they are also signed to a publisher. But you still got to wait. Even at that, you still have to wait. Because you got to let them chew on what you have. If you keep giving them something new, what you have is not ever going to gain its own legs. But again, they don't understand that.
You want to backlist to sell. So, it is a process. But people also have to understand that authors, writers are human. We all have lives. Some of the, like for me, for instance, my husband was out chasing terrorists while I'm sitting up here writing comedy. I had to write comedy when he got shot. I had to write comedy when he was the first World Trade Center in 1995. That was my husband and his team that captured the blind sheep in USEP. But I have all that weight on me because I can't say anything. He's out there, solving the Queen Bomb Squad case, and I mean, just out there chasing. He was part of the Joint Terrorist Task Force. FBI, just so I got that on one side of my shoulder, and I'm trying to write comedy. So I'm just using myself as an example, but I know a lot of writers who have, everything ain't peachy at home.
That's right.
But they expected to put out this, they're wordsmiths. They're supposed to put out these fantastic books, and some can. It just so happens for me, I was able to compartmentalize a lot of stuff, knowing that my husband was out here, he could shoot somebody on Friday and be in the pulpit on Sunday, but that was his mindset. But that didn't mean I wasn't concerned.
Exactly.
I remember trying to write something, and I heard on the radio that my husband had been in a shootout. They didn't even have to say his name, which they wouldn't anyway, but I knew it was him.
Now,
so, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish.
No, I was just saying, we all have different issues that we're dealing with. And I know that might not be something that the reader is concerned about, and they really shouldn't be, but we're still human.
You're right. Now that brings me to this question, though, because see, when you're writing, a reader can experience your mind, body, and soul through your pen. So when you're going through this, and your husband, he's passed, you have to continue to write, you have to continue to create, but you're in grief. A lot of people haven't really experienced grief to understand that grief will take you out. O-U-T. It will take you out of your body. You will be a shell of just there for however long you need to be that shell. Even if they see you smiling and moving, and you still may be a shell. So to be able to write the genre you write, the way you write, and your mind has all of these things inside, what was that process like for you in your healing?
Well, let me say this. When I wrote Sister Betty Says I Do, her fiance had cancer and was going through all this, the wedding was just like crazy. At that time, my husband was going through cancer. I had to let Freddie survive his cancer in the book, but my husband died in my arms. So, and not only that, but my husband and I both had cancer at the same time. So a lot of the readers knew that I had cancer, and a lot of them knew that he had cancer because they had given him 18 months, but he lived 7 years. They gave me 5 years, and I just celebrated 14. So having him pass in my arms and the way it was done, it was an experience that took me out. I'll just be honest with you. Because when you hold somebody in the crook of your arm and you can actually feel their pulse slow down, and see the light go out in their eyes while they're telling you that they love you, that was heavy. That was heavy. And it took me a while. That's why I love Selena James. She understood I could not write comedy after that. I couldn't do it. I had books that had already been written that they were putting out, but I had to learn that with my grief, I was grieving because the love that I want, the love I had, couldn't go where it once went. So it's hard. It's hard. But at the same time, I had people who would always, cheer me up in their way. Nothing can replace what you lost. But people try to get you on a different path. They want to take you here, take you there, whatever, And at the same time, I'm raising a granddaughter who's autistic. So I had that issue. But all of that was happening at the same time while I'm trying to write. And nothing but prayer. When I tell you prayer. But it came a point in time where he's been gone 10 years now. And I still grieve, but I remember the day when I felt him, when I felt his words into my spirit. And in my living room, I could hear my husband plainly say, "Get me out of your head. Just keep me in your heart." And that was like a release for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So after that, that's when I put out Fire in the Water and Heaven Can Be Hell and The Queen of Kingston, and I'm working on some new stuff now, new comedy series called Certifiable, and a couple other books that I'm working on, and also having the support of my tribe, the Lady Kai's Tribe Called Success. When I tell you that those members came to my aid, and they still do. I mean, to the point, girl, when I tell you my HVAC went out, and I'm sitting up here sweating in this house, do you know one of them called her son, who was a manager at a hotel not too far from me, had him reserve rooms for me and my family?
A blessing.
That's what I mean about support. Yes, that's what I mean about support. And in order to get that support, you have to give that support.
You're right.
You have to give it. And it doesn't have to be in money. It could be in words. I mean, you can call somebody, if somebody comes on, cross your mind, you call them, "Girl, how you doing? Man, how you doing?" Send them a message or whatever, thinking about you. And that means something. So that's the way I look at it.
You just said a word right there, a whole word. Now,
go ahead. Sorry.
Budding authors, they face many challenges. Outside of the challenges that we've talked about, being a new author, learning how to sell yourself and learning how to write, and you got all these things, plus life be life, and we talked about this when we first opened up the show. Life will life on you in a minute, and it could be overwhelming at times. Yeah, and it could be complex. What advice would you give to encourage those new authors that want to come out in the midst of whatever it is life has given them?
Learn the industry. Okay, so you wrote what you feel is a great book. You might have even had editors, edit your book and whatever. Learn the industry. Learn when is the right time to put out a book. Learn, formatting. Learn how to get with other people who can help you promote the book. You standing in a corner, sitting behind a table at a book signing while all the other authors are up, greeting people and saying hi and smiling, but you sitting there because you think your book is so great that, they're going to come to you. No. Get your butt up from behind that table. Go out in front of the table. Smile, greet the people, and promote the author that's next to you. Do you know how many books I've sold of my own because I promoted another author? Learn the industry. That's my biggest thing. Learn the industry. When you buy a house, don't you learn the neighborhood?
That's right.
See how far you got to walk to the store? Learn the industry. And put your feelings on the back shelf, because you're going to get your feelings hurt. And then just realize that listen, oh, yeah, you're going to get your feelings hurt, but you just got to take it for what it's worth. Take out the good part, and chew on it. You don't like it, then, don't go back to that buffet again. Just keep it moving. But we have to also understand that if this is a commitment that you make to your career, then you need to know everything about what it's going to take to be successful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you are part of this fabulous event coming up, and the book that you are giving away free is Fire in the Water, honey. Now, tell us a little bit about this book and what the readers can expect.
Well, you know what? I'm going to do it the easy way. I'm just going to read the synopsis. It's not long. I'm just going to read the synopsis because it said it better than I could. Smooth-talking musician Sanjay Thomas hit it and quit it task has caught up to him. Like a Mack truck, it will flip him and leave him waffling, wondering if Jesus was only kidding about forgiving him. Falling in love with best-selling author Celeste Francois was unplanned. That romance placed him in a situation where a lie will force him to make another life-altering decision. If he leaves her, he will save Celeste's fragile self-esteem and her amazing literary career from being destroyed. Staying is no longer an option. Sanjay Thomas makes the sacrifice to abandon her, but how long?
I love it. I love it. Now, when you sat down to write this book, what was going on in that moment in time?
Actually, this story came to me after I heard my pastor preach a sermon about revenge. It all came together after Pastor Phil Pearson preached a sermon on revenge. And see, the best-selling author that he had to abandon in order to save her, he didn't know she was pregnant. So she's setting out to get him. And I mean, she's setting out to get him, but we got to be careful when we set out to get folks.
And that's right, because you set yourself up in the process.
You dig one great, better dig two. So it's a story about how, love can fall apart, but can it come back together when there's so much betrayal involved, so much anger. And the title, Fire in the Water, it just dropped into my spirit.
I love it. I love it. Now, what's next? You have so many wonderful things that you have done. You have written so many powerful books. What is next for Pat George?
What is next for me is a series that I'm writing called Certifiable. And Certifiable is about a retired NYPD detective and his wife. And they both as crazy as they can be. And they decide to open a investigation agency, and it's all about the crazy cases that they get and the crazier people that they become involved with. And it's a fun series. I think it's fun because I like to write fun series. But honey, when I tell you that they crazy, and plus they don't like one another. The husband and wife, they always trying to outdo one another. I always say that, they pat each other on the back but with a knife in the hand. And it's called the Thirsty. They have the agency is called the Thirsty Investigation Agency.
I love it. Now you're gonna have to tag me in that. You're gonna have to tag me in that now. You're gonna have to tag me in that. Because I'm book bougie, but I love a good mystery.
Well, I like to say, when ordinary crazy folks won't do, get the certifiable one.
Well, we so appreciate you sharing your time, your space, and your energy with us. I want you to shout out your social media, whatever you have coming out in the event that you are going to be part of.
Well, my social media is you can click on or go to either www.sisterbetty.com or www.pgorgewalker.com. And I also, if you go either one of those, you will see my social tab information, my Twitter, my Facebook, all that good stuff. I can't hide. You'll find me. And as far as the event that's coming up, it's going to be fabulous in Chicago, Black Women's Expo. And let me see, what else is happening? I know in October we have something else going on. You know what? Just reach out to me because I got so many things happening. I can't even think of, and I know I'm going to miss something. I just know I'm going to miss something. Oh, I do have one other book that I'd like to recommend. It's called Choices, and Choices is a book about my life. And I'm happy to say it did debut at number 1 when it came out.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know that the love of my life, my husband Rob, the one out there shooting up folks and chasing terrorists, he was my second husband. My first husband was I was made to marry by this church that I was attending. I didn't know it was a cult at the time. I was 19 years old, and I had only known him for 3 days. And the church said that we had to get married, and he was on his way to Vietnam. So I detail in the book my journey through that experience. I don't want to give too much away, but, yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You are welcome back anytime. You are welcome. Y'all go grab that. Grab them. Grab them up. I'm excited. Make sure you tag me in both of those releases.
Well, Choices is available now on Amazon ebook or paperback. Go get it because I spilled the tea. I mean, girl, listen.
Is it on Audible?
Pardon me?
Is it on audio?
It's not on audio. No, it's not. All of my other books by Kensington are on audio. My self-published books and whatnot are not yet.
Okay.
But all my Sister Betty books and Backlist and Somewhat Saved and there's Spinning in My Bed, all that stuff. That's on audio.
Well, I'm excited. I appreciate you. This is so awesome. You are like a breath of fresh air. I can really listen to you talk forever because...
And I can talk. I don't know when to shut up.
Honey, that's okay. Because you have lived life. You have lived life, honey.
Yeah, I have.
And if we want to know about something, we have to be able to talk to somebody that has experienced it.
Yes,
so I don't mind listening.
I done some things, some things I've done that I just praise the Lord that he didn't take me at that time because I don't think Rahab the harlot would have hung out with me at one time.
Ooh,
I was terrible. I was a PK kid. That's what we do at some point in time. But I praise and thank God that I've learned and I've grown and I've been able to share those experiences with, not only my readers but my friends and people who know and love me, some of my family, or the DNA sharers as I call them. It's been. I've had an amazing life. I'll put it that way. I've had an amazing life, and I know God is not finished with me yet. So because He keeps me, and as I like to tell people, I can't pay tithes and bail money, so I know He's keeping me.
That's right. That's right. Well, Miss Pat, I always love when I'm in your presence. I thank you for sharing your time with us, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you again, and I love you.
I love you too.